What if I told you the playbook for becoming a billionaire is available to pretty much everyone? That it's not some ancient secret locked away in a vault, but it's written in a language most of us were never taught. A language of leverage, loopholes, and legal structures that let the ultra-wealthy build empires while paying a lower tax rate than their assistants. Think I'm exaggerating? A groundbreaking ProPublica report revealed that from 2014 to 2018, the 25 richest Americans saw their wealth explode by $401 billion. Yet, they paid a federal income tax rate of just 3.4%. Meanwhile, the average American household pays around 14% in federal taxes. So how is that possible? And more importantly, how do they do it? Forget what you think you know about getting rich. We're about to decode their playbook. For most of us, the path to building wealth feels pretty straightforward. Work hard, get a paycheck, pay your taxes on it, and save whatever is left. It's a simple linear path. But billionaires aren't on that path. They're playing a totally different game, in a financial universe where the rules are just different. It's a world where a salary isn't the goal, ownership is. Where you don't sell your best assets to get cash, you borrow against them. And where the tax code isn't a burden to be feared, but a rulebook full of powerful tools to be used. Now, these strategies aren't illegal. In fact, they're hidden in plain sight, buried in thousands of pages of tax law. The real secret isn't the information itself, but having access to the elite teams of lawyers and accountants who know how to use it. Today, we're breaking down the 3 core pillars of that playbook. The ownership mindset that changes the game, the leverage strategy that multiplies wealth, and the legal fortresses they build to protect it for generations. Section 1. The foundation ownership over income. The first and most important secret is a total mindset shift. Most people think a high salary is the key to wealth. Billionaires know that a salary, no matter how big, is a trap because it's taxed at the highest rates. True, lasting wealth is built through ownership. While an average person's wealth might be in their home or 401k, a billionaire's wealth is overwhelmingly in the businesses they own and control. For the top 0.1% of the wealthiest households, business ownership makes up nearly 70% of their net worth. They're not just playing the stock market. In many ways, they are the stock market. Here's the key. When you earn a salary, you pay income tax on it right away. But when you own an asset like shares in a company, and its value goes from $1 billion to $10 billion, you pay zero tax on that gain until you sell. And the secret is, they almost never sell. This is the power of unrealized gains, and it's the bedrock of almost every massive fortune. This simple difference, earning versus owning, is what separates the merely well-off from the ultra-rich. They focus on acquiring assets that grow in value, creating these enormous paper fortunes that don't trigger a tax bill. But if they never sell, how do they afford the private jets, the yachts, or even just buy more companies? That brings us to the most powerful trick in the book. Section 2, the multiplier. The buy, borrow, die strategy. This is the core of modern billionaire wealth creation, a 3-step process that experts call buy, borrow, die. It's a strategy so powerful it lets them turn their wealth into billions in tax-free cash. Here's how it works. Step 1 is buy. As we covered, billionaires buy and hold appreciating assets. Stocks, real estate, art, you name it. They let these assets grow in value, untouched, for years or even decades. Step 2 is borrow. This is where it gets clever. When a billionaire needs cash, they don't sell their stocks and get hit with a huge capital gains tax bill. Instead, they go to a bank and take out a loan using their massive portfolio as collateral. Because a loan isn't income, the cash is completely tax-free. And banks love to give these loans at super low interest rates, sometimes under 1%, because they're backed by billions in solid assets. For example, instead of selling $100 million of his stock and facing a massive tax event, a billionaire can just borrow $100 million against those shares. He gets the cash he needs, and his original wealth stays invested and keeps on growing. Step 3 is die. This is the final and wildest part of the strategy. When a billionaire passes away, their assets are passed to their heirs. Thanks to a major loophole in the US tax code known as the step-up in basis, the original cost of those assets gets reset to whatever their market value is at the time of death. Let me say that again. If a billionaire bought a stock for $1 and it's worth $1,000 when they die, That entire $999 gain is legally wiped away for tax purposes. Their kids inherit the stock with a new cost basis of $1,000. They can sell it the very next day for $1,000 and pay zero capital gains tax. The loans that were taken out during the billionaire's life, they're often paid back by selling a tiny slice of these newly inherited tax-free assets. It's how generational wealth is passed down largely untouched by the tax system. Section 3. The fortress, legal and corporate structures. Building a fortune is one thing. Protecting it is a whole other game. Billionaires don't just hold assets in their own names. They build complex legal fortresses to shield their wealth from taxes, lawsuits, and public view. The two main tools they use are holding companies and incredibly sophisticated trusts. First, the holding company. Think of this as the command center for a billionaire's empire. It's a parent corporation that doesn't really do anything except own other companies and assets. By putting all their different businesses and investments under one roof, they can centralize control and minimize liability. They can also use profits from one company to offset losses in another, shrinking the overall tax bill for the entire empire. Even personal assets like jets and yachts can be moved into the corporation, turning them from personal toys into potential business expenses. Then you have the ultimate tool for protecting wealth across generations, the trust. And we're not talking about a simple trust you might set up for your kids. Billionaires use specialized, irrevocable trusts, like grantor-retained annuity trusts, or GRATs. To put it simply, a billionaire can put assets that are expected to grow quickly into a GRAT. The trust then pays them back an annuity over several years. Any growth in the assets above a certain IRS set interest rate can pass to their heirs, completely free of estate and gift taxes. These are so effective that one study found over half of America's 100 richest people use these kinds of trusts to pass on fortunes. Synthesis. Why it's hidden in plain sight. So if all these strategies, owning assets, borrowing against them, using complex trusts, are perfectly legal, why do they feel like some big secret? Because they exist in a world that is intentionally complicated. The tax code isn't written for the average person. It's written for corporations and investors. To actually use these tools, you need a level of financial expertise and a budget for the best lawyers and accountants that is out of reach for almost everyone. The strategies themselves aren't secret at all. Buy, borrow, die is a well-known concept among high-end estate planners. The power of GRATs is taught in advanced tax law courses. They're hidden only by their sheer complexity and the cost of admission to play in that world. It's a system designed by the wealthy, for the wealthy, and it's working exactly as intended, to reward capital over labor and to make sure that huge fortunes can be built and then preserved forever. The billionaire playbook isn't really about earning more money. It's about completely re-engineering your relationship with it. It's about shifting your focus from income to ownership, learning to use debt as a tool instead of a burden, and building financial structures that work for you. The reality is that while some billionaires are famous for their frugality, that's often a sideshow to the real financial engineering happening behind the curtain. The system they use is a masterclass in making capital work for them, legally and relentlessly. While most of us will never operate on this scale, understanding the principles, the power of owning assets, the strategic use of debt, and the importance of long-term planning is the first step toward building your own financial freedom. If you want to keep decoding the playbooks of the ultra-successful, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And let me know in the comments, which of these billionaire strategies shocked you the most?